This is Sister Catherine Martinez from St. Joseph Monastery in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I am with Sister Susan Mary English, Sister Roberta Campbell, and Sister Evelyn Detling from the Sisters, Benedictine Sisters of Pittsburgh and Bakerstown, Pennsylvania. I would like to start by asking a question about how you all first got started being familiar with coaching as a discipline.
So I'll start. This is Sister Susan. I got interested in coaching in the mid 90s when someone gave me a news article, and it showed a man with his telephone, and it said he was coaching on the beach. So, and that was impressive. And in my term as an educator over the years, I always liked working one-on-one. And so I thought, wow, I could really like doing this as, one-on-one with people. And it just fits who I think I am as an educator and supporter of individuals in whatever they're planning to do in life. So I signed up for a training, and over a period of years got my certification. And then in the early 2000s, I became a certified coach and started to do coaching professionally. I see it for myself, I see it as a calling. It feels like something I'm called to do.
And I think it was through Susan that I became familiar with the whole coaching thing. Was very impressed with her practice. And when she began the program at Duquesne, Evelyn and I went over and observed a few times. And I have to say, I was just deeply impressed especially by the strong community that was formed in the particular cohorts that I observed. And it was through the skills and the leadership of the coaches, Susan and her partners.
This is Evelyn. When Susan was working to become a master certified coach, she asked me if I would be one of her clients. And I wholeheartedly agreed to that, and very soon became impressed with the process, that it came about with such reverence and respect, and also that it viewed me as the expert on my life and where I wanted to go with that. So as I participated as a client, I realized I wanted to know much more about coaching and the process. And with Roberta at Duquesne, I did find that it provided wonderful skills, life skills, and that it is a tremendous factor for building community.
Thank you. I just realized we jumped into this without actually identifying what coaching is, in case there are some people listening that might not be familiar with it. So would you be able to give a brief description of coaching?
Sure, I can do that. There's a group, a professional organization called the International Coach Federation, which is worldwide. And it's the one that we are going to be accredited by when we finish our initial first cohort. But the definition that they give, I really like, and that's that coaching is a form of partnering with a client to be thought-provoking, and it's very creative. And it inspires the client of the coach to maximize their personal and professional potential in whatever way best suits the client.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I would add to that is, over my years of working as a coach, I see it as the training I see as being all about good communication skills.
Agreed.
I think that's very well spoken, Susan.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Please.
What drew you initially to think of creating this coaching program that you're working with right now?
Again, this is Susan. I had the very good fortune after finishing my training of coaching to be invited to work with another coach. And then after doing some presentations together and working together in some odds and ends of programs, she had the opportunity to design a program for Duquesne University, and she invited me to do that with her. So I was a co-founder and worked there about 14 years before I retired from that program. But the basis of my learning there was, why can't we do that as a Benedictine community, to have our own program for religious women and provide that to a specific group of sisters? And then we broadened that and said, well, it should be religious women, vowed, interfaith, international. We want people that have a faith-based ministries to be able to have the benefit of coach training. And so Roberta and Evelyn were willing to help with that. We got together and started to plan back in 2017. And we plan weekly.
That's right. That's right. We meet, every Tuesday or Wednesday, and actually, I had just retired from education, and have always, no matter what ministry I've been in, have always been an advocate for women and being able to use their voice, and especially where we are today in our society and our church. We talked about that so strongly, about the need to be able to give women the ability or to heighten their skills. And so the more we talked, the more excited we got about the possibility of doing a program like that, that would come, be based here at the monastery. We talked with other people, got good advice from consultants. So I think we were really encouraged across the base, and, to be able to do something like this. And so Benco was born. We're very pleased with it.
This is Evelyn. As an elder in my community, I was looking toward a ministry that I would be able to be fully engaged in from the monastery, and working with women religious and helping them gain greater communication skills, and having experienced personally the benefits of coaching, I really wanted to be a part of designing this program. I think it's a wonderful gift for our community as a whole, but it is a tremendous gift to be able to share with other women who are leaders in faith-based ministries.
Exactly. Yeah.
So where do you see coaching and monasticism or Benedictine life interacting with each other?
I think exciting. I think it's exciting to note that coaching and monasticism fit together so very, very well. You take a look at the rule, Benedict wrote that within the construct of monastic organization. He talks about leadership within the community. He talks about the organization of prayer, our horarium, et cetera, but all of it has to be done in order to be able to help the individual monastic attain her full potential or his full potential. Presence is a value that is core to building relationships within the coaching construct, and definitely within the rule. Benedict starts us out by saying he wants us to listen, and not just with the ear, but to really listen deeply. And so to do that, you enter into a relationship with other people. So that the more that we study, the more that we talk, with our group and among ourselves, it just becomes so very, very clear that it's a perfect fit. It's like a hand in glove for me. I think this is the reason why the program is so valuable to me, because I see it as just an extension of our monastic life.
The interaction between coaching and the monasticism or Benedictine life that impresses me very deeply is that they are both holistic, mind, body, spirit. Coaching works with the person to develop the aspects of their mind, body, spirit in a very healthy way. It greets the client as the expert, as the client, and takes them from where they are at this present moment to where they want to go. But it does this with looking at all the aspects of how does it affect you physically, spiritually, mentally. The questions that the coach designs takes into consideration all aspects. And I think that that's the way our monastic life unfolds. It looks at what is good for the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. So for me, it's just kind of a natural fit and flow.
Just add one thing. I see the rule as being a rule that teaches people how to get along together. And I think the coaching skills are really, really important for us and for women in this day and age in faith-based ministries to really be experts in how do you communicate with others, as well as getting along together in your community or on your ministry team or whatever. So I think the rule was all about that.
You all mentioned the program that you are designing at this point, and I believe you have one cohort that's already in process. So how is the program doing currently?
Roberta is our admissions expert here. But as one of the founders here, I'm very, very pleased with our first cohort. We designed it to be small. So we have 12 students as a full class. They're very participatory, and we've had a lot of fun together, and we're developing some really strong relationships. And it was so interesting as we're 9 months into that people are starting to see that they've developed some real skills already. And we're excited about that. And so we're excited to be completing over the 2 years the first cohort, but to also be starting the second cohort in September. And we already have a couple of people who say, well, I want to be in the third cohort. So
Wow.
So we're real encouraged that it's going well. And the evaluations came back, giving us further encouragement.
Because I had such a good experience in observing at Duquesne University how community was so quickly formed with the whole group. I was concerned about how this would happen on Zoom. Because I feel that building community is such a tremendous part of the coaching skills. And I have to say that I have been very pleased, and all my fears about Zoom and building community have been allayed because it's obvious that friendships are forming, that we work well together as a group, as a community during the webinars. And that to me is one of the biggest rewards of the whole program, because I feel that in each cohort, there will be a few kind of lifelong bonds that will be formed, and the support coming from that community is invaluable.
I couldn't add much more to any of what both of you have said. This is Roberta. And I think, Evelyn, you're right on target when you say that whole formation of community is so significant. And just to watch the cohort come from October, 2019, just almost 1 year, a year in, and to see that community being developed, but also just to note the development of the skills of these women and how much more comfortable they are. And I think that I was glad Susan said that, we pretty much have cohort 2 firmed up. We do have a couple applicants for cohort 3, and I think that it's gone beyond just the USA. We have a lot of international requests coming in, wanting to be part of it. And I believe being online has been advantageous to this whole development of the overseas or the international part of it.
And I think too, Roberta, it would be important to note that while this program initially was designed for women religious, we've also gone much broader than that. Women religious of any congregation, but also associates and lay women who are working full-time in a faith-based program. And
Right.
one of our hopes is that it will be interfaith and that ordained women in other denominations might be attracted, or in other faith-based ministries. And one of the things that excites me is that there is a Muslim woman now who is very serious about looking into cohort 2 or possibly 3. And that's really exciting to me, that we're going beyond even our initial hopes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And something about our program that's unique that I've been thrilled with is we actually have 12 certified coaches that they were all educated at Duquesne University, which in future years may change. They may become from other training programs as well. But we have 12 people who are supporting our 12 students. And some of those are attending the weekend retreats, which happen twice a year. And some of them are, well, they're all 12 are supporting the weekend retreats. Some of them are coming in during the webinars that meet twice a month. But we have a lot of support in the greater Pittsburgh community who really are interested in this program and want to serve women religious of all faiths around this. So we've been very, very blessed.
Susan, I think that's a great point, and I think it's important to note that the president of the Pittsburgh chapter of the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, Christine Stack, has been extremely supportive to the point where she actually asked to come and is part of our retreat weekends because she likes the program so well. That was a real boost, I think, for us.
You've already touched a little bit on this, but what are some of the hopes that you have for the future of this program?
Our hope is that this is a ministry of our community, but because we are blessed with this strong surrounding community of coaches, that if something happens as we get older, that we can no longer be the main workforce of the training program, the volunteers and the people supporting us will take over. We'll still own the program. We'll still advise the program and participate as appropriate, but it can continue to go on in the name of the Benedictine Sisters for many years. That's one of my hopes. We also hope that we will eventually branch out and do some, maybe we designed it for women, but maybe eventually do men as well. And then the other thing is to do some shorter programs for people that aren't really planning to train and get certified as coaches necessarily, but that we can help them to strengthen their communication skills, and particularly within the context of spirituality.
We had an inquiry from a young woman who called herself a Catholic. She's not Catholic and she's not really necessarily, another denomination, but she believes in the tenets of Catholicism, but has not good experiences within the institutional church. And yet she's very spiritual. And so she wanted, and there's a number of people who are like her, and she wondered if maybe we would be able to help by bringing these people together and offering perhaps like a seminar program or whatever for people such as that. So Susan, that's right on the market. So thank you for that. And I think for me, in addition to what Susan said, the very fact that we can enable in some small way women religious to be able to go to, first of all, to be able to feel comfortable with formation of healthy relationships, and then not only just to feel comfortable, but to really go about creating those within the construct of wherever they are, whether it's family or school or their professional life or community. I had read this quote. It said, coaching is part of the cultural shift from a pathology world to a world that has a resourceful feel to it. So it's like taking a world that is very, that needs so much healing in so many ways. And to be able to give the voice to women, because women are healers, to be able to make this happen. And for me, that's a really significant goal of the program. And I think it's going to happen. I think it is happening.
I would like to just add, one of the things we've talked about is that as women, and we're thinking right now about Catholic women religious, but it's probably true in other places. But as we get older and we can no longer maybe travel as much or do a full day ministry at a church, and maybe more limited, but our brains are still good. And we are known as women who have wisdom. And so one of the things that we are hoping that this program will do is to give elder women who are still able to communicate well with the public, the lay people, or whoever comes to them, have real skill and self-awareness of how to do it in a way that is really, I'm not saying this very well, but it's really skillful in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So being a strength-based program, we can capitalize on the strengths we have all the way up till the end.
So if someone were interested in getting more information about your program, what process should they follow?
Before we answer that, I'd like to add one more thing. In this very diverse world, we are committed to the principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so when I was talking about all of the volunteers that we have a couple Jewish people, we have some gender differences, we have some Muslim people, not just as students, but some of those volunteer coaches that I talked about already. We have African-American women who are helping us. So we are really, we're really dedicated to that whole idea of anti-racism and diversity. So I just wanted to mention that. And how can people find out about us? We do have a website. If you type in Benedictine Sisters of Pittsburgh, you'll find the website. Under ministries, we have pages dedicated to this ministry. So that's one of the first places that I would have people go. We have a brochure. We're building a marketing list. So if anybody wants to be on our list, we'd be delighted to hear from you, just because you want to kind of see what we're doing on a regular basis. So those are some ways.
We have the NCR ad, and Evelyn has an extensive mailing list, but we also have a really good connection with the LCWR. In fact, we have one of our students is from the LCWR, but she has been able to make a connection there, with that organization. And I know many of the inquiries that come in will come from, I saw your ad in the NCR. I was talking to a friend and she mentioned this program and it kind of piqued my curiosity and I was wondering more about it. So word of mouth has also been a good thing for us.
Well, thank you so much for telling us about the coaching program and for sharing your enthusiasm. It's very evident that you're very enthusiastic and excited about this program. And we wish you well on this. Again, thank you.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
We were
Thank
so
you very
pleased to
much.
be, we were so pleased to be invited. So we really thank you also.
Yes, it's been delightful.